Bothell police officer Jonathan Shoup died Monday night during a shootout, and a preliminary report shows the bullet came from his partner's gun. It is a heartbreaking development as friends, family, and the force continue to grieve. Glad you're with us today. I'm Greg Copeland.
I'm Joyce Taylor. We are getting a better look at the chaos following that police pursuit that led to the officer's death and a manhunt. And Officer Shoup's brother is also talking with King 5, telling us more about the man behind the badge. King 5's Steve Bunin begins our breaking news coverage.
This news broke just a few hours ago, and it is heartbreaking. Investigators now believe rookie police officer Jonathan Shoup was killed not by the man allegedly avoiding that traffic stop, but instead by friendly fire, that he was accidentally shot by his own partner. This all happened Monday night before 10 o'clock when Shoup and his partner, Officer Mustafa Kumkur, stopped a car on State Route 522 in Bothell for not having a license plate. Detectives and investigators now believe they have a more precise timeline of what happened. They say the suspect first tried to drive away, hitting a man on a scooter. Then the suspect, they say, walked toward the patrol car. Officer Shoup was in the driver's seat. Officer Kumkur was in the passenger seat, holding his firearm as the man approached the driver's side door. Investigators say he fired twice on the car. One bullet broke that driver's side window, and the other bullet hit Officer Kumkur's gun in the passenger seat, ricocheted, and struck Officer Kumkur in the head. Investigators also believe that Officer Kumkur fired multiple times, and one of those shots struck and killed Officer Shoup in the driver's seat in the crossfire. By the time help arrived, Officer Shoup was already dead. The suspect ran. Investigators say evidence now shows before he was arrested on a nearby rooftop, he called a 911 call center in Kansas to alert his family that he had, quote, shot and killed a police officer. His name is Henry Eugene Washington. He is 37, and he is now charged with 3 felonies, including aggravated murder in the first degree. According to state law, even though the bullet didn't appear to come from Washington's gun, he can be held legally responsible because prosecutors say had he not attacked the officers, nobody would have died. So again, it's just a tragic turn of events this afternoon. I'm Steve Bunin, King 5 News.
Officer Shoup's brother released a statement this afternoon about these developments, and he says, quote, "The death of my brother is solely the fault of the suspect. Any actions taken by Jonathan's partner were a frantic effort to save his life. Bothell PD is in our family's prayers." Earlier today, Jared spoke one-on-one with King 5's Eric Wilkinson about his loss.
I think first and foremost, he was a dedicated family guy. He never missed a Sunday dinner at my mom's house.
Jonathan Shoup had a heart for service. After serving 6 years in the Coast Guard, Shoup took a lucrative job at Amazon, but it didn't feel right. A proud Husky, Shoup told his brother Jared at the 2019 Rose Bowl that he wanted to quit and become a cop. He did that, taking a 50% pay cut. Jonathan met Rachel, the love of his life, and they started planning a future together. Then there were those Sunday dinners. Just this last Sunday, the family gathered around this table at Jared's home, now covered with flowers and remembrances. Jared had no idea it would be the last time he ever saw his beloved brother.
And that's the saddest part of this whole thing to the family, is that he was a guy who was becoming the man he was going to be right in front of us. Rachel was a big part of that. I imagined if the future played out that they'd be engaged sometime next winter. With kids to follow. My brother was a planner like that, and that was the track they were both headed on together.
Eric Wilkinson there, and you can see much more of Eric's interview with Jared Shoup tonight at 5 o'clock. We'll also bring you updates throughout the weekend here on King 5 News and on our website, king5.com. We are still waiting to hear about services for Officer Shoup.